to go through between here and my house.
All right, we've got it recording. This is for you, Marcia, and for your sister Liz. Enjoy. So we are in Revelation chapter 9, I believe it is. And Linda, you had just read, if you could read it again, verse 13 of chapter 8, because that kind of sets the stage for what we're going to start in chapter 9.
As I watched, I heard an eagle that was flying in midair call out in a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth, because of the trumpet blasts about to be sounded by the other three angels."
Okay, so let's just kind of break this down. He's getting this visual picture that's taking place. He says he sees what flying?
An eagle.
It's an eagle. Yeah, we're in chapter 8, verse 13, kind of as an introduction. So John sees this eagle flying in midair. It's not high up in the sky. It's not flying low. It's kind of in midair. Going over to Lakeside Park, we see these big, I don't know what you call them. They're not eagles, but they're
Ravens?
maybe ravens or something like that. But they're kind of at mid-level, but they're looking. They're looking for food and things like that. So here we see these eagles that are flying in mid-heaven. I'm wondering if the eagles are doing what the vultures or the ravens would be doing, the hawks would be doing. They're looking at the potential meal that they have, that's taking place. And these heard the eagle flying in midair, saying with a loud voice. Who's speaking there? Who did they?
John, you saw it.
Then I looked and I heard an eagle flying. He hears. It doesn't say he saw. He heard an eagle. Isn't that interesting?
You heard an eagle. Okay. I looked and I heard an eagle.
That's an interesting phraseology. You would normally say, I looked and I saw an eagle flying. Here it's, I looked and I heard an eagle flying
In
midair.
a loud voice.
And the eagle's calling out in a loud voice.
Mm-hmm.
And what is the eagle saying?
Whoa, whoa, whoa.
It's mentioned 3 times, 3 woes. It is to emphasize the
Severity.
severity of what is about to take place. It's almost like God is saying, okay, now I'm ratcheting up the intensity of what has been taking place. It's been at one level up until now,
And it's been on the earth.
and it's
been on nature or the heavens. It
The-
hasn't been on
people. But now it's might be moving.
shifting.
Because whoa, 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 because now it's referring not to the earth, but to those who dwell on the earth, to the people. This is now going to get personal to people. Leave him alone, he's fine, okay? Because, and the reason why the eagle is crying out, whoa, 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 is because of the remaining blasts of the trumpets of the 3 angels who are about to sound. They got 3 more trumpets to sound. These next 3 trumpets are going to blow your mind. It's going to be more severe. It's going to be more difficult. And it's going to be directed to individuals, to people, not just to the earth itself. Because the earth has been affected. We talked about it. There was the 1/3 of this, 1/3 of that, 1/3. What were some of the thirds that were affected by some of these things that were happening? The waters, the rivers, the land, all of these things. 1/3 of the sea and the 1/3 of the fish were killed. 1/3 of the animals were killed. So it's all of the things, not people, but things that are on the land or the land itself. But now it's going to be on the people. Okay, so now we move into the 5th trumpet. We got the 5th, 6th, and 7th trumpet. So chapter 9, verse 1. Bonnie, you want to read that for us? And because we've got recording it, read as loud as you can so it'll pick it up well.
Want to just do like the 5th trumpet and not go into the 6th and 7th?
Sure. What verses are those? Verses 1 through?
12.
Yeah.
Verses what? 1 through?
12.
Verses 1 through 12. Okay.
Then the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star from heaven, which had fallen to the earth, and the key of the bottomless pit was given to him. He opened the bottomless pit, and smoke went up out of the pit, like smoke of a great furnace. And the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth, and power was given them as the scorpions of the earth have power. They were told not to hurt the grass of the earth, nor any green thing, nor any tree, but only the men who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. And they were not permitted to kill anyone, but to torment for 5 months. And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion when it stings a man. And in those days men will seek death and will not find it. They will long to die, and death flees from them. And the appearance of the locusts was like horses prepared for battle, and on their heads appeared to be crowns like gold, and their faces were like the faces of men. They had hair like the hair of women, and their teeth were like the teeth of lions. They had breastplates like breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots, of many horses rushing to battle. They have tails like scorpions and stings, and their tails is their power to hurt men for 5 months. They have as kings over them the angel of the abyss. His name in Hebrew is Abaddon, and the Greek, his name is Apollyon. The first woe is past. Behold, 2 woes are still coming after these things.
All right.
Awesome, intense imagery.
Very intense. And here's the interesting thing. These are one of the imageries that is not explained. You know, there's a lot of speculation by a lot of people of the scorpions. Well, maybe that's like helicopters or different things like that. We don't know. Okay, so we're not going to speak heavily on what we don't know. But there are things that we can draw from this. We've got a star from heaven, which had fallen to the earth, and the keys of the bottomless pit was given to him. So we got this star from heaven falling. That sounds like it could be an angel, yeah, falling. Is that what you think it is? Not like a falling star or something like that. Because it does refer to it was given to him, that star is being him. And he, this fallen star, probably an angel, opens the bottomless pit. The bottomless pit is mentioned later on in Revelation. It's referred to the Antichrist and the false prophet being thrown into the bottomless pit. Again, it's a kind of a holding cell, a place to keep those that you don't want to cause problems until their appointed time. It's God's holding cell. So he has the key and he opens the bottomless pit. That imagery, okay, so if this is God's holding cell to keep the undesirables out of society, out of the world, yeah, you're opening it up, and what's coming out?
Right.
Not anything nice.
Not anything nice, but it is according to God's will.
Right.
Okay?
Well, yeah.
And it says that when it was, when he opened the bottomless pit, smoke went up out of the pit, like the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by the smoke of the pit. Now, I don't know if that is a physical, true smoke that's happening, or a spiritual smoke that's darkening things. We don't know.
Well, it's whatever precedes the locust coming out of the pit.
It's almost like it's been a pot, a pressure cooker.
Yeah, right. Or a lake of fire.
And you open it up, and now all of a sudden, all of the smoke and the steam and the flames have a chance to escape.
Right.
Okay. and it creates darkness, smoke in the air, and then out of the smoke came upon the earth locusts. What was it? It says, then out of the smoke came locusts upon the earth. Now mine says locust, doesn't say one like locust or something
No,
like
it says
locust.
locust.
Okay, so I would take it for what it says. It's locust is coming out, and power was given to the locusts. They've been given. Who's the one giving them power?
God.
God.
Just like God gave the angel the key to the pit.
Right, to open it up.
Right.
Now God gives the locusts a power. There is a job that God has the locusts to do. Again, I think we got to take comfort in the fact that none of this is out of God's control. This is all part of the plan, all part of the design of God's judgment upon the earth. So here comes this locust upon the earth. Power was given to them as the scorpions of the earth have power.
Right.
So the locusts have powers like the scorpions have power.
Stingers.
They got stingers. And they were told not to hurt the grass. So God is putting some limits on what they can or cannot do. So some of the things they can't do, they can't hurt the earth. The earth has already had 1/4 of the sea destroyed and planted.
I was
Locusts
thinking.
devour green things. So these are different locusts.
I
Right.
was just thinking, so much devastation's already happened to the earth that
So you have no dominion over hurting the earth.
right.
Nor any green thing. You can't destroy any green thing. You can't destroy any trees.
Right.
Right.
No grass, no trees.
You only have authority, only the men who do not have the seal of God on their foreheads.
So my question is that the 144,000?
Well, that is a reference again. We know already from previous scripture they were waiting for these things to happen, and none of it could get started until the seal was placed on the 144,000 securely. Right. Now we know why. Don't start these things until they're sealed, because there's going to be some locusts coming, and they're going to be told not to touch any of the people who are part of the 144,000. They have the seal. Yeah.
So what about us? Are we part of the 144,000?
That was my question. No, we're not part of the 144,000.
But do we have a seal on us already?
Yes, we do.
We do. We have the seal of God.
We have
We have
the
this
seal
Holy
of the
Spirit
Holy Spirit.
upon us. So, are we part of the 144,000? No. Are we part of the sealed? Huh?
The great multitude.
We're part of the great multitude. Yeah. And so we have been. That's a good question. It shows that you've been listening to other things that have been going on. Where am I at? Okay. They do not have the seal of God on foreheads. Verse 5. And they were not permitted to kill anyone. They can't kill people, but only to torment people for 5 months. 5 months is torment.
Yeah. They will wish they were dead, but they will not die.
Right.
And their torment was like the torment of a scorpion. How many of you have ever been bit by a scorpion?
Yes.
I think I was when I was little, but it burned all the way.
About a year and a half ago, Linda, was it? Oh my gosh. And it moves up your leg pretty quick. Okay, it's pretty painful. And so it's like the pain or the torment for 5 months, torment like the torment of a scorpion when stings a man. And in those days, the days when you've got the locusts out there doing their stuff, men will seek death.
Right?
They're going to want to die. They're going to be in such pain, such misery. Just let me die. Take me out of my misery. And will not find it. They will not be able to die.
Because God's not going to let them.
Because God doesn't allow it.
He's just gonna-
They're not going to die from these whatever the locusts are doing to them. It's a pain, it's suffering, but it doesn't lead to death. They'll long to die, and death flees from them. It avoids them. It's definite suffering. I think that's really the emphasis that's trying to be given here. It is 5 months of worldwide suffering for any who have not received the seal.
Right.
What if you try killing yourself?
Doesn't talk about that, so I don't know. You might not be.
They were not able
To do
find
that.
Wow.
And then it begins to give this imagery. How did you describe it, Cassie? It's
Intense.
intense. What are some things in this? Verses 7 on down. Read some of those. Somebody read one of them. They're like what?
In appearance, the locusts were like horses prepared for battle.
Wow.
On their heads were what looked like crowns of gold.
So back in the day of great empires like Babylon, the Greeks and things like that, it wasn't just the warriors who rode the horses that were in armor. The horses were in armor, and many times the king's horse would have a kind of a crown on the horse there. So these are prepared for battle, okay, and on their heads appeared to be crowns like gold. Their faces, Linda, read that one for us. What their faces look like.
Where are you?
Verse 7.
The locusts looked like horses prepared for battle. On their heads they wore something like crowns of gold. And their faces resembled human faces, their hair like that of women's hair, and their teeth like lions' teeth.
Now let's kind of take a look at it. There's these words, resembles, is like. It's not saying they had the faces of men or the hair of women.
Looked like horses prepared for battle.
Now, who's describing? Who's
John?
is seeing this, right?
Yes.
So I think he's trying to describe it as closely to what he thinks it's looking like as he possibly
Based off
can.
of like what
And
he's
that's why he has
experienced.
to say looks
Like.
appears to.
It's like it, but it's not really it. It's similar, but
It's the closest thing he can
Good-
relate it
yeah.
to that he actually knows.
they have faces. They have hair.
Exactly.
Okay, that's there. Hair of women. Their teeth were like teeth of lions. Have you seen the teeth of lions?
They're big.
They're predator teeth. Yeah, fangs coming down. They had breastplates, like the breastplate of iron. These locusts who looked like horses. They're wearing an armor, a breastplate on there. And the sound of their wings was like the sound of chariots. This is where some people have gotten a little crazy in the late great Planet Earth book by Hal Lindsey. He says this is probably helicopters flying in here.
Yeah, but helicopters don't.
They don't have teeth.
This is our attempt, man's attempt to try to bring understanding, rationalizing what they can't quite visualize
But
here.
I mean, the thing that stands out to me and all that symbolisms of is they're not allowed to kill.
Right.
So whatever this is that somebody might want to make into an army sort of attack, they're not allowed to kill.
Except it cannot. No. Well, yeah. They're there to
only
torment.
torture them for 5 months.
Right.
So that's
Armies invade, kill.
right.
So what he's saying here is it's
Something to
terrifying.
torture people without the seal for 5 months.
Right.
And since the seal is for the 144,000, that's Jewish people. We're talking like Israel, that area.
Right. This is
So is this
Middle
all
East.
happening in the Middle East?
Yes.
So then maybe those who are not in the Middle East don't need to have a seal because it's going to be over there.
Could very well be.
Would you say again?
This is a Middle Eastern conflict that may be described here, not a worldwide conflict.
This right here?
I don't know. But does it talk about the entire world being affected by this?
Right. No. It
All
just,
the peoples of the world?
well, it says no. It just says don't touch the trees or the grass.
It doesn't say, really.
Says they were told not to harm the grass of the earth. So maybe. Interesting.
Here's a
Yeah,
possibility.
you kind of wonder, is John seeing this vision, the way that he sees and perceives things, then, you know, as he is living now? Or is this something he's seeing that is what it looks like in the future?
Yeah, I think he's trying to describe something that he's never seen before. Yeah.
Here's a possibility to consider. We know that the Great Tribulation is initiated when, and we'll read about it later, initiated when Michael the Archangel and his angels cast out Satan and his angels from the heavenlies and relegate them to earth. And at that time, Satan, with the Antichrist, go after the child of the woman who is Israel.
Which is Israel.
This could be a description of a 5-month assault
Right.
on those who have been sealed, the Antichrist going after them to kill them.
Although they are able to go after those. I mean, they're going after those who don't have the seal too.
Correct.
Okay. Oh, yeah, they're going after all Israel. Yeah, okay.
But you can't touch the others.
Right.
And it's 5 months. Yeah. I don't know that what this is exactly. They have tails like a scorpion's and stings, and in their tails is their power to hurt men for 5 months. So
Some sort of
again, we know that there is a 5 month of suffering that comes because of this that's taking place.
And this is during the tribulation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Is it just men? Because it says men.
It's speaking men in a very generic terms. It would be men and women, boys and girls, children. And then verse 11, they have as king over them the angel of the abyss. Now, that's interesting. And his name is Abdon.
Abaddon.
Abaddon. I kind of stumbled on that one, didn't I?
And in Greek it is Apollyon.
Like Apollo.
That is destroyer.
This is
This
a
guy's been
real,
locked up
and he's
Apollyon,
pissed off.
That means destroyer,
in Greek.
Apollyon?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
And
thanks for that.
this is a guy that's been locked up in the abyss.
Chances are this is one of the angels before the flood
The Nephilim.
that God has cast down and held them in the bottomless pit
Right.
for their time, to hold them until their time.
Until their time.
And he's not a happy
Because they
camper.
because in God's eyes, he considered they did something so vile that you could be locked up until like.
They left their place and came into they were to be watchers, and left their place and did things that they ought not to have done. Yeah, well, yeah, Nephilim. This is the first. Woe is past. So here are some things I think that we can get from it. There's still 2 more to come. One is God is now unlocking the abyss to let out those imprisoned angelic figures who disobeyed him prior to the flood,
Right.
who've been held there until the day of judgment. Day of judgment has come. He's now given permission to this fallen star, an angel, to unlock it, to let it loose. And now the king, Apollyon, whatever,
Abaddon or Apollyon?
Apollyon or
Yeah.
whatever you want to call him, the destroyer, is coming out with his horde of armies. And they are given permission
They are allowed to, yeah.
to torment, but
Anybody
not
who
kill.
does not have a mark. The seal.
For 5 months. So God sets the conditions and sets what they can do
and who they can do it to.
and who they can do it to.
Right.
And they can't do any more than that. So who's in control here?
God.
God is.
And even the ones who are opposing him are doing his will.
Right.
Unbeknownst to them.
Yeah.
You think it's all their idea.
So in one sense, it could be frightening. In another sense, it should give us great courage. God is still in control. Chances are we will see some if we're alive during this time, we will see some figures presenting themselves that look superhuman,
Right.
that we're like, oh my gosh,
Like a god.
like a god,
You know,
a
that
demigod.
we
Yeah,
see in movies or
Right.
something, you know. I think it's interesting too that the other name for the abyss is the bottomless pit.
right.
Yeah. So that's mentioned again.
Okay, any thoughts, any questions?
It's confusing.
Well, there is some imagery,
Right.
but we don't need to try to figure out what all of the imagery means,
Right.
but what's the purpose behind it. Generally, purpose is this: God is going to, as part of His punishment, torment the earth for those who are not sealed for 5 months.
Yeah.
They're going to suffer great suffering, but they will not be able to die. They'll seek death, but they won't be able to die. God is not going to allow them to die so that they can get the full measure of the suffering that they need to have.
Right. Yeah. People will seek death but will not find it. They will long to die, but death will elude them.